Well, it comes that time of the week where we go out to the wonderful environs of Smoky, California, and check in with Michael Snyder and his movie reviews. Hello, Michael.
Well, hi, Alex, and yeah, guess what? I'm between fire zones out here. I am actually 2 miles, maybe 3 miles from one of the major fires in the Los Angeles area, but clear and no smoke in my neighborhood. Isn't that bizarre?
Mm-hmm.
But I'm grateful and hoping that there is as little property damage and certainly no loss of human or animal life in the coming days. It's been crazy, but it doesn't make me reluctant to jump into the old culture blast and take a few hits. And actually, despite it being December and big blockbuster end of year awards season, it's a very slow week. I think next week is going to be laden with movies, but we only have a handful, so we should get to them, I think. I, Tonya is a darkly comedic take on the true story of American figure skater Tonya Harding, who tried to take down her Olympic competitor Nancy Kerrigan when confronted with, let's say, a less than supportive skating community. She had amazing physical skill, Tonya Harding. She could do this outrageous triple axel that few had attempted, but it didn't help her scores. And making things a little worse for Tonya in the real world was the fact that she was not a great beauty, which is something we expect from our skating princesses. In any event, this movie about the incident and about Tonya Harding's life stars Margot Robbie, Sebastian Stan, who you know from Captain America: The Winter Soldier and the Marvel movies as Bucky Barnes, Allison Janney. Julianne Nicholson plays Tonya Harding's ambivalent skating coach who sees talent and at the same time realizes that she's kind of dealing with an angry head case, and Bobby Cannavale as sort of a skating expert who weighs in now and again. Janney is almost a shoo-in for Best Supporting Actress as Tanya's mother, who is actually one of the most vile creatures in cinema history. Just like that. She's like the Hannibal Lecter of trailer trash moms. And I got to tell you, the script is sharp and funny and sad. It deals with the tragedy of this woman's situation. The direction by Craig Gillespie is lean and mean and really creative, and the cast, aforementioned, is to a person ideal. In fact, I'd say that Janney's slap in the head performance as the mother, I guess, there's nothing you can say about her other than yikes. LaVonna Golden, Sebastian Stan almost matches her. I mean, he's the slimy, self-serving Jeff Gillooly, who is Tanya's scuzzball husband and then ex-husband. And I'll tell you what, the only off note is the fact that lead actress Margot Robbie is just too damned beautiful to pass as Tonya Harding, who again was a rough, plain, working class girl whose remarkable athletic ability elevated her, even as her sequins could never really glamorize her and turn her into, like I said, America's skating sweetheart, like Dorothy Hamill or Christy Yamaguchi, or even her arch rival Nancy Kerrigan. And the scenes where Robbie is playing like the 15 to 16-year-old Tonya in braces play like she's herself a grown woman in a Saturday Night Live skit. But that's the only criticism I can levy. Otherwise, this is very, very good. Robbie's performance is terrific. And again, Janney, horrifying as the mom, is a must-see. I give I, Tonya a very, very favorable recommendation. And, again, best movie of the bunch that's coming out this weekend, and I do believe that there's going to be a lot of awards buzz for elements of it. Bullethead is kind of another story. There's a lot of talent and star power here. It's a gritty, grimy, low-budget crime drama about 3 criminals who are trapped in a warehouse, and this warehouse is like a house of horrors, crumbling, falling apart, holes in the wall. It's clearly a place you don't want to be, but they're there when their heist goes wrong. How's this for a cast? Adrian Brody, John Malkovich, Antonio Banderas, and Rory Culkin. That's the essential quartet of actors that are mostly on screen here. So these three guys, the grizzled veteran criminal, played by Malkovich, the multi-time loser, desperate for a score before he finally gets out of the life, played by Brody, and the callow, drug-addled kid trying to finance his habit, but sure to screw things up for everyone else, played by Culkin, are bottled up in this wrecked and treacherous abandoned building. And the cops are on their tail. And little do the thugs realize that a gang lord, the character played by Banderas, has used the space for illegal dogfighting, and he's not done with the operation or with all that's been left behind. The basic premise is pretty familiar. Crime and criminal behavior have consequences for victim and perp alike, and sometimes, no matter how hard you try, your brilliant plan will go belly up. I mean, crime is a bitch that usually bites back. This is pretty much shot in Bulgaria, by the way, which effectively subs for American urban decay. It's serviceable and entertaining, but it's only a B movie, despite the talent involved. And yet it should divert interested parties on cable or VOD, video on demand. Bullethead, the kind of movie I like. Noirish, violent, crazy, it gets a tentative recommendation from me. Hollow in the Land is a minor film. Diana Agron, who's best known as a blonde hottie on the silly high school musical type TV series Glee, gets serious here and is quite good in Hollow in the Land, which is a decent, tight, again, minor drama about a young woman named Allison who wants to protect her useless a-hole brother in a hard-scrabble backwoods situation in the wake of their father being incarcerated. Their mother, by the way, left the family early on, so Allison is kind of in charge here. But that doesn't mean she's going to be able to handle things when the local yahoos decide to come after the family because of dad's criminal transgressions and the brother's comparable misdeeds. Apparently, no one in town likes these people. Agron shows some serious depth here in a role reminiscent and obviously so, reminiscent of Jennifer Lawrence in a superior film, Winter's Bone, which is a movie that also had the benefit of John Hawkes' chilling, creepy performance. This is not a bad little thriller from writer-director Scooter Corkle, but there's, it's not, again, top tier. You get some excitement as the hateful townspeople come after Allison. And I got to say, small town Canada never looked so foreboding and murky as in Hollow in the Land. Again, this strikes me as cable or video on demand stuff. The Disaster Artist, by the way, opens wide this week. And that is a terrific film about the making of the cult classic movie The Room and the weird guy behind the thing, starring James Franco, directed by James Franco. Really, it's one you should check out, particularly if you're a fan of cinema. What are you watching and what are you up to, Mr. Bennett?
Well, on your recommendation, we went and saw The Shape of Water, and my feeling is that's the best picture of the year.
It's a beauty.
Absolutely the best picture of the year. We were blown away by it. It is just an absolutely unexpected treat, the
performances are stunning, and you got to love Sally Hawkins.
She's got to get a nomination for that. She absolutely has to.
And I know you've been coming down on Star Trek Discovery, but Doug Jones, one of the stars of that,
what do you mean I've been coming down on it? I've been saying nothing but wonderful things about it.
I thought you didn't like Star Trek Discovery,
no, I've been saying that it's amazingly refreshing.
Doug Jones, who was so good in a speaking role,
we know that.
Sorry,
we know that.
I mean, that's his big speaking role after a lot of wonderful and mostly silent performances, many of which have been in Guillermo del Toro films. And here he has a chance to really capture your heart in, again, a mute performance for the most part. Wow!
But it's a spectacular film, and if you're not going to go to any movie this year, that's the one you should go to. It's in a year of somewhat mediocre films. That film stands out as just being a pleasant surprise. And not that I don't expect great films out of Guillermo del Toro, but most of his films don't have that kind of heart, you know.
And one of the things is it really does fall into a passion of his, which is, schlocky monster movies, which he apparently grew up with, like The Creature from the Black Lagoon. And this was his chance to do something really special with it. And you don't leave humming the art direction, because the performances and script and direction itself are so good.
Everything, even the acting ensemble. I mean, I have the SAG Awards coming up this year, and I hope it's up for Best Ensemble, because, quite frankly, you couldn't get a better ensemble anywhere.
Well, Michael Shannon and, of course, the great Richard Jenkins, they're wonderful. You're right. It's really
Olivia, what's her name?
Octavia Spencer.
Octavia Spencer. Incredible. I mean, it's just a perfect film, okay? And girlfriend, when it was over with, just looked at me and went, wow. She was almost speechless.
It's a beauty. Anything on television other than I would like to recommend that people who like the costume dramas and adaptations get prepared to watch a really wonderful version of Howard's End on PBS sometime early this year. Other than that,
yawn. Yeah. Anyway.
Okay, fine. Be that way. Listen, you can check me out on Twitter at Culture Blaster, and certainly on Facebook at Michael Snyder's Culture Blast page, and revisit our discussions there and various articles. And I'll be back with a boatload of new films next weekend, including the new Star Wars movie, The Last Jedi.
Okay, I also forgot to mention on Amazon, you got to watch The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel.
We'll talk about it.
It is incredible. Anyway, thank you, Michael. And there's more GABNet coming right up.